Before we start, somebody up here near the front said, "I'm a teacher." And I'm not sure if she was nervous about what we're about to talk about. Let me just make very clear. What we're about to show is not indicative of what every teacher in Utah is putting into every classroom. This is a national kind of thing. We're going to talk about where we see it entering into Utah schools through some movements, through some very intentional avenues that are happening around the state.
Can I just tell you that the reason I asked is because I already know this is happening, and I want help and support from other like-minded teachers. That's why I asked.
Thank you. Through utahsrepublic.org. That's the main website that we use for the advocacy efforts that we're making. Welcome. We appreciate everybody showing up today. Again, my name's Oak Norton, and this is Susie Schnell. We're parents in Highland, Utah, live in Alpine School District. Today we're going to basically go through some of the things we see happening, as I said, in Utah schools. We'll start off first by sharing a little bit about our background. My background is, about 6 years ago, my oldest daughter was in 3rd grade. And it was the end of the school year, and I went to her teacher and I said, "I noticed you haven't been teaching the times tables yet." And I remember doing that 30 years ago in 3rd grade. "When are you going to start? There's only a couple months left in school." And she said, "Oh, we don't do that anymore." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, it's not part of the curriculum." Well, then how are kids supposed to learn their times tables? 22-year veteran teacher says to me, "Well, the smart kids will just pick it up as they go."
Wow. Wow.
I picked my jaw up off the floor and walked down to the principal's office, and he said, "Oak, settle down. I know this isn't how we grew up, but all the studies show this is the best way to teach. The kids come out just fine in the end." And I said, "Okay. Tell you what, I'm not an educator. I don't know what you guys are looking at or smoking. I'm gonna go down to Walmart and buy some flashcards right now because I can clearly see I need to take things into my own hands." And so what happened over a short period of time was I became kind of an activist, never intended to do this. The problem went a lot deeper than not teaching the times tables. There was no long division, no division by fractions, which effectively shuts off algebra and higher math. And so we were graduating kids from Alpine School District that didn't know their times tables. And is it any wonder that 20% of Utah seniors can't pass the UBiscuit test, which is an 8th grade math level test? UVU down in our area doesn't have a remedial math program for their students. They have a department. So they have a math department and a remedial math department.
Wow.
There's 2/3 of the students that show up at UVU need remedial math. They're not ready. And Alpine is only one piece of that puzzle. When I was doing my research, I found this quote from Stephen Leinwand on the National Science Foundation, who said that teaching our kids pencil and paper techniques with math is downright dangerous. Now, by the way, this presentation will be on the website, so if we go fast and you don't catch a quote, you'll be able to access this later. So I had no idea when I started this math war a few years ago that it was tied into the Constitution. It is 100% tied into the Constitution, as you will shortly see. We came across a sign in the school district, which Susie's going to talk about her experience with, and the sign says, "Enculturating the young into a social and political democracy." This wonderful sign hangs right over a freedom display in the Alpine School District Teacher Development Center. So you have the Constitution, Declaration, and right above it is this sign. Now, I started Utah's Republic just about a year ago when I found out that the word Republic does not appear in the Utah State History Standards, kindergarten through 12th grade. We talked about democracy, but we never even mentioned the word Republic. With that, I'm going to let Susie introduce herself and her story, and then we'll pick up from there.
Thank you. Well, I left beautiful Sacramento, California, to come to conservative Utah to raise my family about 2 years ago because I thought, oh, we're safe. They're conservative. They're religious. We'll have so much in common, and my children will never have to worry about being indoctrinated in schools again. Well, because we homeschooled about 10 years in California because of that. So we were in bliss for about a year, and we noticed though that I have kids in 3 different public schools here, different levels, And we noticed that they were far below the standards where we came from. We came from pretty good schools. They had a lot of agenda and indoctrination that they were teaching. But still, the schools here where we were going to, it was far below in standards. And we thought, well, that's not great, but at least the teachers are moral. At least, they're patriotic. So we thought at least that would work. So we felt safe. Still, my 6th grade daughter said, Mom, you have to get me out of school. I am not learning a thing. All the stuff they're doing this year, I learned last year. And she begged me to homeschool. And I have an education background, so I had no problem doing that. But she came home one day and she said, Mom, my teacher who teaches the Constitution to all the 5th and 6th grade kids in the entire school, he told us that we are living in democracy.
Oh my.
And so she raised her hand very politely and said, well, actually, we live in a republic. And he argued with her in her class and said, we live in a democracy. This is a PhD,
Wow.
okay, in charge of Constitution in the school. She said, well, some people call it a democratic republic, but we're still a republic. She's 11 years old. I don't remember ever telling her that. She learned it from something that she read that we have at home. Well, anyway, he continued to argue with her. And then the same day, he looks over at her and she has a book that she's reading from home, and it happens to be the 5,000-Year Leap. And he says, what are you reading over there? And she says, well, the 5,000-Year Leap. It's about the Founding Fathers. And he looks at her and he says, pure science fiction.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's all we needed to take her out. So she finally got away. I homeschooled her. But to get to homeschool, you have to go to the office and you have to sign form. So we walk in. The first thing that we see as we're walking in is this sign. The both of us stood there and with our jaws down and went, what? This is the motto of the school district? Number 1, enculturating. If you haven't heard, my mother escaped from the Soviet Union under Stalin. This is why this is such a passionate subject for me. I know what enculturation is. Enculturation is when they took those Ukrainian people and anybody that Stalin decided to go into their country, they made them speak Russian, they burned their churches, they got rid of any kind of religion, traditions. That's what enculturating means to me. But if you look it up in the dictionary, it's really hard to find. You have to look up like 3 different dictionaries. Enculturating the young into a social and political democracy. We thought, okay, obviously we know we don't live in a democracy, so that's wrong. A social democracy, for those of you that look at Merriam-Webster dictionary, is socialism. That's what that means. Why is the word political in a statement, but in a motto from a school district? So I went ahead and took this picture, and I thought, ooh, there's going to be some parents who are going to like to hear this. Well, on the way home, it got to me more and more, and I was this sick feeling came to me. And I thought, I need to look up on their website. Something kept telling me, look on their website. So I get on there, and their mission statement page had the word democracy or democratic, this little page, 13 times. How many times does it say academics? Okay, 0. Why are they pushing this political agenda? So then I go to this link that says America, Republic, or Democracy. And I'm like, are you kidding me? They have that on their Alpine School District little web page on their mission. America is a Republic or Democracy? So I click on there, and it said, it reverted me to a Green Party socialist man from California who's running for representative there, Bill Myers. He loves me. He's written all about me now. Anyway,